What's up, everyone? Long time no see. We're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings up next here on No Buts About It. What's up, everyone? It is Josh Butts here from No Buts About It. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings 2025 draft. But before we get into that, I do want to kind of just share some stuff with you regarding the channel itself. So, as some of you have probably noticed, it has been a while since we posted. It's been about a month, and the last thing we posted was a short. And we haven't just given up on the channel. We're still in on it. I'm really in on it. I want this to grow. I want so badly for this to grow. Like those who know me personally know this is very important to me. I have just been so busy. I have had four weddings in the last 5 weeks. I've just in the month of June, I've been in five different states. I've just been all over the place. Haven't had time to post. There's been a ton of videos I've wanted to post, storylines that I want to follow because I love doing this, but I've just either been so tired or so busy. So I appreciate everyone for being patient with us. We are going to kind of, reel it back a little bit for the summer and then kind of try to hit the ground running once the season actually starts come the fall. But yeah, we haven't given up on the channel, so I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Our original goal was to make a grades video for every single team. That just isn't going to happen. That's where we're at. Chuss is super busy. He just graduated college. I'm super busy with life. It's just, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Um, I don't like it. I wish we could do better for you guys. That's my goal is to always provide you guys with the best content, the best information that we can. But ultimately, where we are right now as a channel, as a group, as a company, whatever you want to call this, we aren't in that place where we can do that all the time 24/7. I mean, if I had it my way, we would have a 24/7 setup, news all the time, different opinions, basically ESPN, but that's not where we're at. I'd love to get there sometime though. So I thank everyone who has been supportive and continues to support the channel. But without further ado, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. And the reason I picked the Minnesota Vikings as the last draft grades video, except for potentially the Steelers. I know Chuss has one in the drafts. I don't know if that draft grade video will ever get published. My last video will be the Minnesota Vikings. Um, Chris Vikings 30 asked a month ago for us to do this draft grade and promised we would get it done. I keep my promises to the subs. He's been a loyal viewer. Thank you so much, Chris. So here we go. Very small draft class as well. So that's a benefit to this with how busy we've been. So Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State, pick 24 in round one. I really like this pick. And, Donovan Jackson, he is a guy who moved around in the first round. I saw him in the late first round. I saw him in the second round a lot as well. There were some Bengals fans who were mocking him in the second round, so he was a guy that people wanted. And part of that is just because he has a lot of versatility as a player. He can play both tackle and guard. I think in the NFL, he will probably benefit more as a guard, but he can play that tackle. So, that tackle position goes down, you've got a guy you can move over who's likely got some experience at tackle and is also technically one of your starters. He was a 3-year starter at Ohio State, which is nothing to scoff at all. He's a young prospect who I believe is just under 23 years old. So while he does have some technique issues, his hand placement needs a little work. He's got time to improve, right? He's young, he can grow as a player, and the Vikings, have always had a pretty good offensive line, so he's going to be in a good system to learn and improve. He sometimes loses the edge when playing tackle, and that's why I kind of think that he'll be better at guard. And that the Vikings will likely line him up at guard anyway because their tackles are already pretty set, left guard specifically. And if he lines up at left guard, that means that he'll be playing next to Christian Darrisaw, who is a fantastic player, a fantastic offensive lineman to learn from. And he will also be with Ryan Kelly at center, and then Will Fries, who they signed from the Colts. They signed both those guys from the Colts in free agency. If all of those guys can stay healthy, JJ McCarthy should be very well set in his protection in what is essentially his rookie year. So Donovan Jackson, I'm going to give that pick an A for the Vikings. I like it. Um, Maybe not necessarily seen as a top need for him, but I think it's a good pick. And it was a good start to the draft for them. Next up, Ty Felton in the third round, pick 102 out of Maryland. I'm going to give this a B. This pick, this doesn't really fit with what saw the Vikings needs as. They've got Justin Jefferson, they have Jordan Addison, they have various wide receiver threes that they've kind of plugged in all over the place. You also have TJ Hawkinson, who's a receiving threat at tight end. And Ty isn't much in terms of size, but he makes up for that in speed and agility. And he is able to make people miss with that ability. He's able to burst out of his route tree and burn corners. However, I think that will be more difficult in the NFL. Granted, at Maryland, he was playing against some top corners, but NFL is a whole nother game from college. Uh, his speed could be useful on special teams as well, and could allow the Vikings to open up Addison and Jefferson, but right now I'm not even sure that Ty Felton is the guaranteed wide receiver 3 on this offense. It may just end up being a special teams player in his rookie year. He's a really fun guy to watch on film. I understand why the Vikings were attracted to him. In It's a deep wide receiver class. This could have been a defensive tackle or a cornerback in my mind, an aggressive cornerback like Brian Flores likes, and that would have been a better pick in my mind than a wide receiver. Um, that being said, I think Felton is a great player. He will be exciting to see if he can be effective on special teams. That will help him a lot here. Also, I think it's Ty Felton. It might be Tay Felton. I've heard both on broadcasts that I watch, so I apologize if I mispronounced that. But yeah, I gave that a B. Just because I thought it's not a bad pick, not the best. I would have liked to see a defensive tackle or cornerback there. Next up, defensive lineman Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, round 5, pick 139. I gave this a B plus. And Ingram Dawkins is a fun developmental player. Um, Obviously, he hasn't got a ton of experience. He only started in 10 games last season. However, he made it to Georgia. Like he doesn't have a ton of experience playing the position of football, but he had enough that Georgia was like, yeah, we want that guy on our team. He's someone with great physical attributes and can be really exciting. He just really needs to work on his technique. If he can continue to learn and grow as a player, he could be an absolute steal in this draft. He could be someone we're talking about years from now. And we're like, how did that guy go in round 5? And it's going to be because he was less experienced, but the Vikings could develop him. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator to develop this guy. And he could eventually be a full time starter if he gets his hand placement down, if he gets his rushing technique fixed. Um, that aggression really kind of fits into Flores' system. That's why I like it to B plus. He's not going to be a day one starter, but we're in round 5 right now, so we're not looking for that necessarily. He is an exciting player, though. I think Vikings fans should keep an eye on, especially in preseason. Next up, Kobe King out of Penn State, round 6, pick 201. So Kobe King is your stereotypical Mike linebacker. He's a lot of muscle, but he doesn't have a ton of speed and agility. If he could work on his quickness in the pass rushing game, he would be a very effective pass rusher in the box. That's just something he needs to work on. And Kobe King actually fell. He was mocked a lot of times in 4th or 5th round. So this isn't a bad pick at all. I gave it a B just because, the Vikings have linebackers, and it's just kind of an okay pick in my mind. The Vikings defense does rely heavily on their linebackers, though. And it is hard to argue with the team that got Ivan Pace Jr. just 2 years ago as an undrafted free agent. If King can develop his pursuit and blitz ability, especially that wide pursuit ability. So what I mean, like, you've got the box where the Mike linebacker usually lines up. And then once the wide receivers or the running back gets out wide, he's not great at chasing them down. If he can improve upon that, he could actually be a very good player and could even turn into a rare sixth round starter. But that's going to take some work on his part. But hey, he went to Penn State, so he's not unfamiliar with working hard. Next up, Gavin Bartholomew out of Pitt. Now, round 6, pick 202, right after Kobe King. I gave this a B minus. This just was kind of a weird pick to me. Um, again, I was looking for a defensive tackle and a cornerback, and they didn't really go that route. They didn't even take a cornerback. Taking a tight end here just kind of felt odd. He's going to be an inline blocking tight end. His route running is kind of clunky at times. He's going to likely be fighting for a roster spot, which I mean, in round 6, that's not uncommon. He can catch fine, but will be limited to short, simple routes in the NFL due to that clunky route running. That's not always a bad thing, though. That's not terrible. I just think where his route running is, and then his blocking, which isn't fantastic, but is his strength. He's going to really need to improve on one of those things if he wants to make the roster. Uh, he did improve throughout college, though, in that blocking. So hopefully that trend continues this offseason. And as he practices and as he gets some NFL coaching and he's able to make a roster. We're always rooting for these guys to make the roster, which obviously not everyone can make the roster. But just because I give someone a bad grade doesn't mean I'm looking for them to fail. So Gavin Bartholomew, I think he's going to be fighting for a roster spot. I'm not sure that this is even the best pick that the Vikings could have made. But hey, hopefully he makes the roster. And Truss will be happy because he's a Pitt player. Overall, none of these picks were bad. A lot of them were just developmental players in weird spots, but could eventually be starters, except for Gavin Bartholomew. I think he's going to be a career backup. The Vikings didn't necessarily fill all their needs, though. They could arguably use a cornerback and a DT more than a wide receiver and a tight end. Felton is a fine player, like I said. I just don't think that he was a need that early in the draft. Taking him in round 3 was kind of a bold move. They could have, in a very deep defensive tackle class, they could have gotten a starter with that pick. I think they would have been much better off taking a defensive tackle in round 3, just because of how deep it was. You could have gotten a steal there, especially with the coaching that the Vikings have had the last few years. But the Vikings have earned their fans' trust, and that's completely understandable. And this team is being led by a young quarterback and could be in a Super Bowl window. With Sam Darnold, they made the playoffs. They did very well. The NFC North is competitive, but hey, if JJ McCarthy comes out swinging, this could be a Super Bowl team, a Super Bowl competitor. We'll see what we get out of him. That's going to be the big question mark. But I'm not sure they made the most of their opportunities at each pick. That taking Felton in round 3 is really going to hang over them for me. We'll see how he ends up working out, though. Overall grade, I'm going to give them a B. So, not a bad draft, just I think they could have done a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think down below. And like I said before, thank you so much for everyone's support, even though we've kind of been in the dark lately. I really do appreciate all of you so much. I have so much stuff we've been working on just behind the scenes, stuff that has been like ready and then like set back. And every time I get ready to do something, it seems like another thing pops up and it's just crazy. Like, I had a merch store set up and then that company like kind of went. So restarting from scratch just sucks. But thank you everyone who has supported us. It truly means the world to me. I know everyone says that, but no, like I appreciate it so much. And thank you. If you want to continue to support us, please like this video, comment on this video. Let me know your thoughts on the Vikings draft. And as always, the best way to support us is to subscribe and share this video. Until next time, go do something nice for someone.